Dillon Danis and Kevin Holland had a back and forth on Twitter. Last night, Dillon tweeted this. He wrote, "If I go to the UFC, give me an easy first fight. I'll take Kevin Holland." Kevin Holland quote tweeted it. He fired back with posting a photo of Dillon getting choked out by the bouncer. He wrote, "Get in line, bucko. Maybe we can get you a rematch on Dana White's Contender Series against this guy first. Win that and Dana might just give you a contract to the big leagues." Stipe Miocic is disappointed that he never got to have the trilogy fight with Francis Ngannou. Speaking to the New York Post, Stipe said, "I really wanted to have that rematch with Francis. Unfortunately, he left for bigger and better things, so good for him. After that, all I wanted was Jon Jones. It definitely sucks. I definitely wanted that trilogy. But unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Listen, he's on to bigger and better things. On paper, Tyson Fury is one of the best boxers of all time, but Francis hits really hard. It's a fight. Anything can happen. I wish him all the best. I hope he shocks the world." Tony Ferguson says he stopped believing in himself, which caused his current 6-fight losing streak. Leading into the fight against Paddy Pimblett, Tony says he is now a new person, and he's very eager to win this one. Tony said, "I'm not ready to retire. Getting cut from the UFC was never in my thought process. Retiring was never in my thought process. The only thing that was in my thought process is, what the f*** are you doing? Get your f***ing shit into gear. Do what you have to do, train the way you f***ing need to train. Like, quit f***ing horsing around. I'm trying to help so many f***ing people, man. Help yourself. Get to where you f***ing need to be so that way we can help other people." And that really put myself into gear. It's not easy doing what we do inside that cage. It takes a lot of f***ing balls, but we don't have the only occupation where it takes balls, so I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. And like I said, it's never been a thought in my head that I should give in to retirement. I put myself in this f***ing position and I'm so tired of it. I'm so f***ing tired of putting myself in these f***ed up positions where it loses me a match. It's trying new things in the fight rather than in the practice room. And it doesn't start in the fight. It starts in the practice room. You always have to do it in the practice room, and if it doesn't work in the practice room, you don't do it on the f***ing playing field. And I think I took my own talent for granted. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and I've always done that. If I didn't have more talent than the other person, my hard work was always going to show up. And these last couple of fights, I just let it slip through my hands, man. I never really talked about it, how hard that really impacted me when my team broke apart. But it f***ing sucked. And then trying to put people together to keep that going. Man, it was almost kind of like a relationship. Sometimes you've just got to say bye and then move on. And I think I finally did that, and I'm able to trust again, which is very hard for a guy like me because everybody looks at me like a superhero. They always look at me like I have the right answer, and I usually do. I usually like to have the right answer, but this time I asked for help, and I asked for the right help. I've been as real as I possibly could with them, and my agent and my family, my wife particularly, and my kids, and I've just been real honest with them and myself, and I've been digging deep, man. I really dug deep to what I really needed to do. I found myself emotionally, and I've learned how to smile again, especially in this sport, especially after 6 losses. You would think that you would just give up, go hide and be depressed, and go sleep all the time and do all that other shit that a lot of people would do. I mean, I've never seen these guys retire off of like maybe 2 fight losses and then say they don't have it anymore or whatever the I look at them and I'm just like, geez, man, what the Slap yourself around a little bit and get back on the drawing board. I'm unbreakable. I had to start believing that, and I had to start telling myself that again, because I wasn't telling myself that. I was telling everybody else that. I'm hyping everybody else up, including friends, family, whatever the whoever it is, lots of loved ones. But I had to finally start telling myself that, because I started to see myself kind of go like this, downward mentality a little bit, not being happy doing what I'm doing, not competing with a smile, not having fun with training, always kind of like bugged out. Every time I would go into my academy, I'd be like just like dreading it and pissy and just like here we go again, because I would have people telling me like, why are you training all day when you're wasting your time? All that clouded up my head, where it was just kind of like I stopped believing in myself, and it was terrible. It was like the worst thing, dude, and I had to step back away, listen to myself, listen to some good advice from some good people, and really think, put my thoughts down on paper, not just on Instagram, but put them on paper. Think about what I could do, make some phone calls, ask some questions, ask for help, and man, people were kind of like, hey, we've been waiting for you, where have you been? That's been an A+ right there. But there's a difference between saying and then actually doing it. And instead of partially doing it how you're supposed to. And that's where I'm at right now. And I've got people checking on me, making sure they're like, hey, when are we going to do this? What are we going to do this? I really had to open myself up to really look, to see if I still wanted to do this. I want to be real. I do want to do this. I still want to compete. I'm not ready for boxing. Like, I'm not. I have to kind of let that go. You're not boxing yet. Stop training boxing all the time. There's more than just throwing hands, not to prepare MMA. It's MMA, and I used to do that. Like, I used to pick apart my fighters like it was chess. I used to go in there and do all that stuff. So I really had to open myself up to a lot of things. And these are the steps that I'm taking, man. I'm a different person, thank God. And I really want to win. I really want to win. I'm not wishing, I'm making it happen. I really want to win. Manel Kape claims that Israel Adesanya apologized to him following their back and forth at the UFC 293 pre-fight press conference. If you missed those two going at it, here's that real quick.
Stand the up, motherfucker. What you want? What you want? What you want to? What you want? Alright, yeah, shut the up. Sit down.
Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Manel said after all this talk at the press conference, he came to me backstage. Hey, no disrespect. We are Africa. We're brothers. I said, we are not brothers. Look, my problem is with Kai Kara, not with you. Why did you stand up? He can handle his business. Believe me, if he's in the street with no cameras, I'll eat you too. You are a man to back up your words. Because you're just one man. You're tall. But I'll eat you in the streets. Believe me. You don't know what I'm capable of doing. He backed down again. Ask him what he said to me backstage. No man, no size, I don't fear them. And I'm undefeated in the streets. I expected it because they're just acting. The difference is I'm not acting. I'm not acting. I'm for real. These people, they're not built like me. Where I come from, what I handle, I'm different than these people. He knows. He don't want the problems here. Colby Covington recently had some harsh words for Dillon Danis ahead of his boxing match against Logan Paul. Even though Colby and Dillon have been seen partying together numerous times, apparently Colby is not a fan. Colby said he's got a good guy that's behind the scenes that's ghostwriting for him. He's definitely been able to manufacture some drama with that fight, make it a bigger fight than it really is. Though Danis is not a fighter. That guy can't throw a punch. He literally couldn't punch his way out of a wet paper bag. The guy shouldn't be there. He's just there to get his ass whooped by Logan. I think Logan starches him. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to it because it's a circus sideshow, bro. These guys aren't real fighters, and they're fighting for top prizes and big money fights. They're not like me, who's fighting in the most prestigious, best combat sports organization in the world, the UFC. I could care less about it. Today, Dillon went on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schulz and fired some of his own shots at Colby. When they questioned Dillon if he was playing a character, here's what he had to say.
So you know,
I'm not heel. I'm a heel in
you know
real
what
life.
I mean. You know what I mean. But like,
I'm not no fake Kobe.
regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. These comments are in reference to Jorge Masvidal going off on Colby Covington. The first one's from Daniel. It says Jorge should just shut up about Colby. He had his chance to make good on the things he said he was going to do to Colby, but he blew it. So since he couldn't beat him like a man, he took the cowardly route and sucker punched Covington when he was out eating. How does anyone respect him after that? The second one's from Francie Fam7. It says Masvidal is the definition of salty. And the final one says Jorge begging Leon to do to Colby what he himself couldn't do. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. If you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen to get caught up. And make sure to go subscribe to our second channel where we post our exclusive MMA interviews.